All drugs have side effects, even aspirin, but none seem to be more controversial than those used to treat mental illness. Tonight, in part 2 of our series, Mind Over Meds, photojournalist Jessica Hoffman and I look at why, for some, they're a modern miracle, but for others, cause for despair.
I bet everybody here knows people in this situation.
Jim Gottstein gives a lot of lectures at the Luzak Library.
You have the young adult in college, grad school, maybe high school, who's doing great and then flips out.
Many come hoping for answers.
I want my granddaughter to have a healthy mother.
Gottstein's mission? To shed light on what he calls the dark side of drugs that psychiatrists and hospitals use to treat mental illness.
25% of children given these drugs convert to bipolar disorder within 4 years.
Although the numbers and studies vary, Gottstein, who experienced a mental meltdown of his own, has a lot of credibility with his crowd. In the summer of 1982, he was committed to the Alaska Psychiatric Institute for a month, which Gottstein says prolonged his illness in large part because of the drugs he was forced to take.
There are a lot of successes for people.
Today, API is more patient-friendly.
I'm so proud of this room.
A room called the Winter Garden, open to patients 24 hours a day. Also a place where families can visit.
We also can get you a latte if you feel like it.
Ron Adler is director of API and one of the targets in a Gottstein lawsuit over the medication of children in the state's foster care system. Despite that,
I'm glad that Alaska has a Jim Gottstein.
Adler says Gottstein has done a lot to protect patient rights. Another of his lawsuits changed the way things are done in this courtroom here at API, where patients who refuse medication can make their case to a judge.
This massive amount of harm that's being done.
But Adler believes Gottstein's crusade against psychiatric drugs has gone too far.
When you listen to Gottstein, the glass is half empty all the time with a lot of warnings.
Warnings instead of hope, which Adler says is cultivated here at API through a mix of meds and therapy.
This is called our Denali unit. Welcome to Denali. Come on in.
Gottstein says when he was hospitalized, there were sometimes 5 patients to a room, but not today.
They're, for the most part, all single occupancy.
Patients not only have more privacy, but more amenities. A gym for exercise. A greenhouse where patients tend to plants as part of their therapy.
I often refer to API as the captain cook for behavioral health.
But at a luxury hotel, you're not locked in. Critics say no matter how much API has changed, one thing hasn't: the heavy-handed use of drugs.
So the result is that people in the public mental health system, their lifespan is now 25 years shorter than the general population.
I'm passionately speaking to you on behalf of all the mothers and fathers that have called me over my career and thanked me when their adult children have been placed on medications that significantly changed their lives.
Adler says Gottstein's long-term stay at API is very different from what patients experience today, mostly because of a new player in the picture: Providence's emergency psychiatric department. It's the first stop for those in the throes of a mental crisis, a place where patients are stabilized, evaluated, and usually referred to outpatient services. Less than 20% of people who come through Providence's psychiatric unit are sent to API, which is now free to focus on the most severe cases.
People are usually dangerous to themselves or others, or so gravely disabled that they can't care for themselves each day.
Adler fears fallout from the anti-meds movement.
It frightens people. It makes them think that psychiatrists are bad.
And that, says Adler, could turn people away from treatment. His biggest worry, that patients will stop taking their meds without first talking to their doctors, not realizing that a sudden withdrawal from psychiatric drugs can send the mind over the edge. While art in the hospital points to the possibilities, the realities remain.
in an ideal world, we wouldn't need API, but we haven't reached utopia yet.
One thing both Ron Adler and Jim Gottstein agree on, that the drug industry has too much sway over psychiatrists and that both patients and doctors need more education about the side effects of medications.
Excuse me, Ron, I was about to choke there. So how does Alaska compare to other states when it comes to innovative treatment?
Well, Alaska has a lot of new programs here. One trend is to connect, you okay?
I'm fine. Keep going.
To connect people in crisis with survivors of mental illness, a process that strengthens recovery for both. Tomorrow night, we'll introduce you to two survivors of mental illness who are helping others, two people with two entirely different roads to recovery.
Your report just had me all choked up, Rhonda. Thank you very much. Very insightful.
Thanks,
Appreciate
Rhonda.
it.